And welcome back to EU Masters Spring 2020. I'm ck, joined by K1ck Tiger for the remainder of this show. I need to turn my own stream off. There we go. So, Mr. K1ck Tiger, I was like hearing my own voice in my head. Unfortunately, we did lose Mad Magical right towards the end there. Internet connections and connecting across the world does come with some challenges. But fortunately, K1ck, you and I, we've been stable all day and we're going to bring home the last few games.
Yeah, looking forward to it. I don't think I've cast with you since the very first EU Masters, so a real throwback.
It's a long time coming, but not much has changed in the meta. We're still seeing Graves, we're still seeing Trundle, we're still seeing Sejuani. Let's get to that in a second, though. Very quickly, as Mad Magical, as well as Trouble, we're talking about. Schalke, they have guaranteed themselves at least a tiebreaker for that quarterfinal spot. One more win for them in Game 5 will guarantee them the first seed. Singularity, they are guaranteed a 4th place finish in the group, but K1ck, they are the team that's now going to play spoiler for both Mobby Star Riders as well as ck.
Yeah, I mean, it's an uphill battle for sure, but I think today Singularity have looked a bit better than if we look back at last week. That 0-3 was pretty darn convincing. But in their last game today, they looked like they actually showed signs of life, especially in the early game. Want to see a bit more of that.
Yeah, I completely agree. It's been a development, I think, for all of the teams in Group C from Week 1 to Week 2. And for Schalke, changing in Lurox from Gilius was a very big improvement in their performance. Let's take a moment or two to talk about what ck, as well as the Movistar Riders, have in front of them, though. There's 8 possible scenarios out of all the results that can come in. You can see the schedule on your screens right now. Out of those 8 scenarios, 4 of them include a 1-game tiebreaker. That's most likely the first to second or second to third, so seeding or a playoff spot. Only 1 of those 8 scenarios is a 2-game tiebreaker. That would include 3 different teams, ck, Riders, as well as Schalke. And finally, 3 out of the 8 remaining scenarios will have 0 tiebreakers. But basically what I'm trying to say, K1ck, is that tiebreakers are looking very, very possible and on the horizon.
Yeah, that's always a scary thing to do as well when you've already been in the double round robin. The teams have already started to pick up on the kind of your play style, the champions you had in the back pocket if you really needed them. For example, that Ivern we see coming out as a last-ditch effort didn't work. Those are the kind of picks you might be worried about revealing early on.
I like that. That Ivern is a last-ditch effort. I mean, Movistar Riders were 3-1. They were tied with Schalke, but they just got outclassed. It just didn't look good. We are jumping into draft. We'll see Schalke and Movistar in Game 5 and 6 respectively. Let's turn our attention to this draft. Again, look, Singularity, they are the champions coming out of the Nordic region, a Danish-based team. 0-4, I think they looked a little more competitive against Schalke at the beginning of the day. But frankly speaking, they have not been as competitive as the 3 other squads in this group.
Looking now at the kind of picks being locked in, or the bans rather, you can see the standard bans over on k1ck Neosurf side. On the other side, it's a lot of things that have been targeted at ck in the past, especially that Zoe from Matislaw. The other thing that I'm looking at now is, do they ban the Lee Sin? Because last time these two played against each other, Shlatan destroyed them.
Yeah, he absolutely wrecked them. I think he ended up at like 10-1 and something. And there you go. You called it, K1ck Tiger. The last ban is the Lee Sin. So Lee Sin and Gragas taken away from Shlatan's pool. See what he defaults to. I mean, the Trundle is still open and available. That is something that has been very high priority throughout the course of EU Masters this spring. It's the Varus lock-in. What direction would you like to see Singularity go? Remembering that they can play spoiler here.
I'm wondering if they just lock in some of the standard meta things at the start, or if they play something a bit wilder now that there's a little less pressure on them, knowing that they've already locked their seed. If you're going standard, you're going to see things locked like the Maokai as well, one of the major top laners that hasn't been picked up yet. And we're seeing the Graves already, so Skrude going back to that sort of farming style we saw him do well on as the Karthus in the previous game.
Yeah, I mean, his Karthus was very, very good. It helped when he was... what's the word I'm looking? He was donated a few kills. I think that's the term that I will go for. Yeah. But frankly speaking, Singularity, they didn't have just to kind of summarize it, they didn't really have the macro to push that advantage that they picked up earlier to take Schalke out, and that's what ended up causing their 4th loss. Reje will be locking in that Miss Fortune down in the bottom lane, and we'll see what support he's going to get in a moment or two.
Yeah, I'm looking over towards Vayu, tends to play that Nautilus, especially with that Thresh lock-in. I expect that might be locked in even pre-ban phase 2. Otherwise, you're looking at really high priority pick being left up. Azir could be locked in here. I'd say K1ck might go for it. Might be nice for Matislaw.
And there's the hover, waiting for the lock. Ding! You get that one, K1ck Tiger. All right, please do not pick Corky. I think the entire EU Master Shoutcaster crew is on board. We'd prefer to see something else in the middle. Give me an Echo. Give me something a bit more exciting.
They did do us one favor, which was getting rid of Ornn, right? So we can't get Ornn Maokai top.
That is very, very true. Let's see what Singularity decides to lock in. I mean, the set was taken out the pool, so as you've already mentioned a couple times, like that Trundle, that Sejuani, jungle picks that are still available could be picked up by these teams, and Raya will be supported by the Bard in the bottom lane. So, you know, we talked about this in our prep for the game. With the fact that Singularity, they've got nothing to lose anymore. They're just playing spoiler. Graves, Miss Fortune, Bard. That's not traditional, but if it unlocks some, you know, freedom of play, if the pressure is completely off, maybe they can shine a little bit on these picks.
I mean, I think it's interesting as well that they're probably trying to play for something that can get priority, push really heavily in the lane, and give Graves maybe some room to push forward. If you have Bard as well, great at roaming alongside a jungler, maybe trying to push into k1ck's jungle. Because last time Shlatan walked all over them, this time maybe trying, okay, if we send 2 people right from the start of the game at you, maybe we can at least slow it down.
I do like the idea as well, actually, of like Bard and Graves, as you mentioned, kind of double teaming, using that Cosmic Binding, plus the end of the line, like there's a lot of early damage. And look at the jungle pool, already starting to be pinched. So Jarvan is gone, Trundle is gone. If k1ck want to go the team fight route, the Sejuani is still open and available. Trying to think of what other sort of the junglers we've seen throughout the course of the tournament.
The last jungler, looking at Shlatan's pool specifically, that hasn't been banned here is the Elise. Very aggressive, and also does decently into the Graves, who stacks up armor using the grit. It's a little heavily aggressive, but Shlatan's pulled off heavy aggression before. I don't see why you wouldn't be willing to do it again.
And of course, taking a quick look at this ban, with a Vel'Koz ban into the Azir, people who play Vel'Koz tend to... Xerath tend to also play Vel'Koz. That's what I was getting ahead of myself on. Xerath and Vel'Koz players are one and the same. You know, you tend to be able to play them. So I literally got ahead of myself.
Yes.
I'm so excited.
I mean, you did call it, though. We credit you there. You were there.
I forgot all the setup of my point. So nevertheless, Bard and Vel'Koz now joining Team Singularity's composition. So we're looking for a top laner for Nille in the Singularity comp, and whatever he plays, it's going into the Bard.
Yeah, I think the expectation here is just going to be standard team fight by the look of what k1ck have locked in so far. Wouldn't be surprised to see, as we said, something like the Elise locked in, something with a bit of aggression early on that can also follow up with more pick potential.
Oh, gonna go team fight style. It's not the Sejuani, it's not the Maokai, it's instead the Malphite and the Kindred. But there's honestly a lot that k1ck can do with this comp. They've got CC in so many fronts, they've got a strong front line, they've got the ability to peel, they've got team fight power. I kind of like the composition that k1ck put together. And now it's been rounded off by Sylas and Singularity. So Singularity have got the ability to steal some fantastic ultimates.
Yeah, I was going to say, but that is the best response to Malphite. Not only do you get Malphite ult, you also get to be a champion when Malphite ult isn't done. So Sylas does really well at that top lane. It's kind of one of the major counters to Malphite, who has so many good matchups into maybe your standard bruisers.
Now, K1ck, because I took the easy comp of k1ck, I'm going to throw a very difficult question to you. What on earth do you think Singularity are trying to do?
It's exactly what I'd touched on when they locked in the Bard. They're going for really heavy priority. We talked a lot about how Azir, generally, so good at getting priority, that's why we see him locked in so early. The one kind of champion that can respond to that is something like Vel'Koz, who can go for that W max, instantly clear out the wave, and join those heavy invades with the Graves, with the Bard. I will say, before we get into game, that is what looks to be the plan. Can Singularity execute on a plan like that? I genuinely don't know.
Well, that's what we're going to find out. We are jumping into game as k1ck are taking on Singularity. As a reminder, Singularity cannot get above 4th place in this group, and they can only play spoiler to either k1ck right now or to the Movistar Riders in game 6 of the day. Nille is now up in the top lane, and he's going to get smacked in the head. That's a thunderclap to the face from from Ibo's Malphite, and also he's wearing the only appropriate Malphite skin for when Mr. Celtic Tiger is shoutcasting games, the Shamrock Malphite.
It's the best skin because it's the worst skin. No effort was put in.
I think it was actually the second ever skin that I purchased in League of Legends back in 2010, and the first one that I got, I actually bought League of Legends through Steam. I'm that old.
Damn.
There was a Steam digital edition that came with the Gothic or the Emo Annie, and I managed to pick that one up. Raxxo and Puki are going to spot out the Singularity push, and they might set up for a bit of a fight here.
It's going to be an aggressive 3v3, but Bard is really good in this level 1.
Alright, the Flay comes back. The problem is Singularity got taken low beforehand. Does Shlatan decide to flash? It's 100 hit points to burn through, but that means it's a flashless Bard in the bottom lane.
Okay, they actually managed to get that. You often look at these kind of level 1 supports Bard as being one of the best alongside Grom. Actually doesn't matter if you're able to get the jump on them, also the Kindred there to chase up as well. So well played by K1ck to already start this off in a way that's favorable.
Yeah, and I mean, he's only good at level 1 if he can hit his spells, right? So the fact that they got chunked out as they approached that bush, it just did so much to shut down the attempted invade. Singularity are now going to set the lanes up.
I like that we're focused in the bot lane. We talked about it a lot, but there is one thing I want to touch on at the top lane before we probably leave it for a while. Look at the fact he's taken press the attack on this Malphite. I think he may be moving towards an AD Malphite with a Triforce.
Oh,
I think
man,
the potential is there.
I really, really hope so. Obviously getting slapped in the face by that W is just so fantastic. And actually saying that as well, if Ibo is able to pick any fights with Skrude or reje, that's going to work out into his favor very, very effectively. Got a lot of CC to hold those fairly squishy AD carries in place. And Shlatan versus Skrude was the matchup that we were most focusing on because of how big of an impact Shlatan had on his Lee Sin in game 1 on, I think it was day 1 when these teams played last week, and right now he's setting up in the top lane.
Seeing that now, it's going to be the move up there with Ibo.
Oh, defensive flash from Ibo's Malphite. He's going to be low, going to run into Graves. First blood available. That's a dash forward as well as the auto flash over the wall for Shlatan. It's going to be 1-for-1 reply. Now, does Skrude decide he wants to pick a fight? Raxxo's going to start to back away as Puki style steps forward. Piercing arrow goes up. He gets the kill onto reje. And now Skrude is going to be finding Shlatan. It's a 3 kills in 3 minutes, top and bottom.
Okay, and it's not over yet. Shlatan and Skrude fighting.
They are indeed. Skrude's running for his life, needs the cooldown on Quick Draw to come available. Turns around, trades a shot, and then Quick Draws over the wall. While that's going on, Ibo is now trading in the top lane. That's a press. The attack. Shamrock Malphite. Hit him with a pebble. And
he's going for it. The W's going to come in. Notice the TP behind. Kroghsen is here.
Oh man, he's going to fire out that Plasma Fission, won't find the slow. Got the Void Rift, as well as that Tectonic Disruption available to him. Gonna land the Q this time round, and here comes a TP! Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to EU Masters! 2 kills for K1ck, make that 3! Looking for 4, defensive flash away. Dance of Arrows continues to chase down from Shlatan, and K1ck and Singularity are just going ham in the top lane.
But look at who's picking up these kills on both sides. A little split over the side of Singularity, but the major carry of K1ck, Shlatan, is picking up all these kills along the way. Also picking up, in the meantime, that crab up the top side, getting another stack for that Kindred. It's all coming together very chaotically, but we're gonna say it's planned.
Yeah. You're going to say it's planned. I'm going to hope you're right. I like the fact that Nille as well as Skrude both picked up those kills as well. Like, they're trading it. I think K1ck are going to be exceptionally happy that Shlatan's Kindred has got his hands on both of those kills. I will keep my eyes on just how many marks he's able to secure over the course of the game. But I do need to ask my observers just to ping and let me know. There goes the flash, the flay, Shlatan. With the help of Raxxo, picked that up. That was a great death sentence. It will mean reje has to use the cleanse to escape with his life, but another kill to K1ck.
And on top of that, another stack over to Shlatan. Had actually marked the Bard before that play came in. So it picks up a nice one there. And interestingly, you actually have the priority we expected from Singularity. They wanted to maybe move towards the Dragon, but with Shlatan showing, they're actually going to try to turn this into a play in the bot lane.
Round 72, fight! Flash forward, not gonna find the slow, but the life form disintegration ray, it's interrupted by the flay. Puki style gets the kill, and K1ck with the outplay.
Well played by Raxxo there, coming in, because you saw once that death sentence had been interrupted, the Graves had jumped in front, allowing the Vel'Koz to continue the ult channel. He follows it in, going, I still need to play this, need to remove this ability, and again, we just don't have time to talk about it, because it's another fight.
We need 2 play-by-plays for this game with the amount of action we're seeing. Nille's going to get run down here slowly but surely. And he's taken out by Aibo and Shlatan together. Aibo's the one that gets the 6th kill of the game for K1ck, and they extend their goal lead to 1,000.
Huge lead there for this side, who we're coming in as the expect... Oh, don't do it. Okay.
Oh.
Dear Lord.
It would have been so funny if he died to minions.
My heart, man. I can't handle it. But we're going to get back into it, though, because focusing back on what the actual game plan was. Singularity wanted to play forward in their lanes, try to go on the aggressive. This doesn't work when, honestly, their bot lane has been outclassed. Raxxo and Puki style are playing better. They're getting pushed in, but then finding the moments where not only can they kind of bounce the wave back, they're also finding really heavy kill potential.
Oh, look at that slide, glide, divide, Singularity get dunked. Shlatan, I'm pretty confidently just picked up his 4th mark of the game at 7 minutes. I mean, that was just really, really nicely done. A small correction, he had not marked the Azir, so it's 3 marks on the Kindred. 302 out of his team's 7 kills, 2,000 gold, and do you know what this reminds me of? Do you know what this feels like? K1ck, it really, really does. Shlatan just everywhere on the map, and honestly just destroying Singularity. It's stronger players working together in a better way.
That's it. I think it's so many fast moves that it's struggling to keep up with it. There's another.
There is another indeed. Puki will get run down underneath the tower. The lantern comes out from Raxxo. Death sentence is sidestepped by Reje. He flashes away and just misses the flay. Now Raxxo's in trouble. Cosmic Binding won't find any targets. Skrude will be able to get the reload before he dashes out. So the tower dive works for Singularity, but they don't get anything more. If the observers can flick over to the gold, because we can see just how close some of the CS numbers are, but look at the disparity here. In the jungle, despite the fact that Shlatan is farming champions, because he is down 20 monsters, his kills are even by Skrude. He's behind 300, 400 gold. Bottom lane plus 600, mid lane plus 300. Relatively speaking, fairly close across the board. It is only 1,000 gold lead, despite the fact it feels a lot bigger.
But let me talk about why I wouldn't be worried as a K1ck member here, because we talked a lot about, okay, the comp focus from Singularity is getting these lanes prioritized. The reason that's so obvious is they have no frontline if you get out of this area. After that, your best frontliner is Bard, who's not exactly the best tank in the world. And it doesn't look like they're even going to get to a stage of the game where that's going to probably be a problem.
No, they won't. Nille just gets dunked. Great combo. Aibo goes in with the unstoppable force. Raxxo's right there with the death sentence. Aibo, by the way, he's gone for the bombing cinder as well as an Null Magic Mantle. No AD items yet, but I remain hopeful. And I think you're 100% right, K1ck Tiger. You talked about it in draft. Singularity try to play for that old adage, win lane, win game. They have not done step 1 of the plan. And as we get to 10 minutes, you know, K1ck are just exploding ahead, and K1ck are setting themselves up in a fantastic position to take absolute control of the game.
Yeah, and I mean, credit to Singularity. There's signs of life there. They are trying to respond, but K1ck is really just upping the tempo. Every time Singularity are going, okay, we're going to force a more solo queue style play, K1ck are turning around and going, we were born in solo queue. Good luck. And running it down at them.
Yeah, definitely the case. And K1ck are in an interesting position now because they played this game, and then they immediately play against FLICKR after this. And I'll get to that point in a moment.
Oh.
The stopwatch death sentence! Oh, that looked so cool, but it didn't work out for K1ck. Reje is going to be able to escape with his life. And yes, Aibo completes the teleport, but he's got no ultimate available to him. and literally just watches the wave move. While that's going on, Matislaw and Shlatan destroy the mid lane turrets. They get 2 of them and take a gigantic gold lead.
Yeah, and Nille actually had TP there, but because the fight was pretty much over, they were disengaging, decides not to go for it, get some plates up top, but you are so far pushed, and they'd pushed into the mid lane. Where do you think they're going, Nille?
Oh, let's find out. While that's going on, down the bottom lane, Tempered Fate comes out. Puki style is locked underneath the tower, gets knocked up into the air, and burnt alive where he stands. Now Nille, he's going to be able to look for the abscond. Hijacked was already used. He's getting some damage down, but you're not going to win the 1v3. The conquering shifting sands of Azir pick up kill number 9. And, well, this is an interesting game to analyze, but it is a fun game to watch.
I mean, it's very enjoyable, but it is very hard to keep track of because so many back and forth movements. But at the end of the day, it's K1ck that are finding most of the things they need. Singularity did pick up 1 dragon in the meantime. Aside from that, they're really struggling here. I think Kroghsen's doing fine. In a vacuum, I think the Vel'Koz might be in a decent spot.
I'm very glad I've got an Irishman casting with me, because the Irish are very, very famous for being, you know, jolly and happy and looking for silver linings. And I love this. Like,
Yeah.
Well, Singularity, they've got themselves a track. I mean, look, I am being a bit unfair. I am memeing a little bit. It is obviously because this is a chaotic game, but it feels as though if K1ck kind of buckle down and get a little bit serious, look at Ibo coming in from behind, it feels like they've got all the tools they need to accelerate this to a very large lead, and it might be happening very soon. Well, that is one airborne Raya. Gets dunked down by a dance of arrows, and that's the 10th kill for K1ck. 5-0-2 for Shlatan's Kindred.
And they're going to run in here. Kroghsen's a little far forward, though. Could be jumped on if they can see it. A good smoke screen stops that, but they're going to be able to maybe push towards that top tower once the wave comes back. The one thing I do want to mention from an actual analytical standpoint is the vision control from K1ck has been really strong. SNG have no idea where they are right now.
Yeah, not whatsoever. And look at the teamwork as well. Raxxo is really rotated with his team very well. Puki style is now up in the top as Dell. Nille is going to steal away the Emperor's Divide, but gets locked down by Chain of Corruption. And that teleport really did not work out well. The Plasma Fission is split between the uprights. Shlatan is able to escape. No goals scored today. And the Piercing Arrow will tag Kroghsen. Yeah,
that
Comet as
arcade
well.
Comet cancelled.
That is insane. I cannot believe the Comet cancelled the recall. Now Nille's in trouble. He's got Emperor's Divide. There's going to need some major magic fancy footwork here to survive as the Sand Soldiers go in. Shlatan again stepping forward. Puki style waiting for the Piercing Arrow. That's a dance of arrows forward. Absolutely nothing. That was the 4th dance of arrows, or the stack rather, from the Kindred passive, and K1ck 11 kills.
They had so much time that you could actually swap target while they waited for the dive to happen. Pick up the extra stack on the way. Again, I'm not sure the stacks are going to matter with the pace of this game, but it doesn't hurt as they continue forward, and you see now Ivo being given free time in the bot lane while all these plays are being set up.
And I think, look, I want to give all credit to Ibo's Malphite, right? 1, 2, and 4. He's up in CS against the Sylas. He's had support from Shlatan and the rest of the team. Shlatan, by the way, now in some trouble. Is going to throw down Lamb's Respite. Raxxo goes in. Lamb's Respite by so much time. The heal comes up. But the Ball of Time will send him packing. Emperor's Divide won't find the targets they want to. And there goes a magical journey. In actual fact, Singularity get themselves one. Vayu's running for his life. Will find Kroghsen. K1ck starts to back away. But what I was trying to say about Ibo, I'm disappointed, my man. Not got that Trinity Force yet. I was really hoping for it.
Yeah, going a bit more standard. I think press the attack over the Arcane Comet is fine. I was just ready for it, you know? The game's chaotic. Throw some chaos into the builds as well. I still have hope, though. Maybe.
I do not share the same silver lining positive outlook as a South African national originally. We've got a slightly more bleak outlook on many aspects. But Celtic Tiger, 15 minutes in, 2,500 gold lead, 3 towers to 0. K1ck have just got, like I said, they've got really good control of the game. It feels like even though Singularity are pretty fantastic, they do need to work on some elements of their gameplay, like communication, maybe some of their map awareness, laning, vision control, landing some of the skill shots. I forget what the rest of the meme is, but Twitch chat, that one's for you.
There's a lot in there.
Yeah, that was that.
Honestly, it warrants it. But looking now once more, it is going to be K1ck going for the numbers advantage in the top lane.
Dun 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 dun. Look for the death sentence. The comment goes up. Vayu. The magical journey is interrupted by the flay. Raxxo dunks down on Vayu. It was looking so cool, and then it wasn't. And that gold lead just spirals even further.
Come on, man. He's already dead. just let him go. You got what you came for, but...
What I will say is this is going to bring us to the point that I was saying a moment or two ago. With the way KiCk are playing, they will have a showdown with Schalke 04 in the next game. I have to make some assumptions, okay?
Yeah.
If you assume that the Movistar Riders will beat Singularity, which is, I think, a safe guess to make today, that means KiCk are playing for their lives and their playoff chances when they face Schalke in the next game.
Looking forward to seeing that game as well, as I expect it'll be a bit more, we'll call predictable than this current game we're seeing, but I think at the same time, you have to credit KiCk for knowing their strengths. We look back at what they want to do. You looked at the comp that was drafted against them. It's okay, everything we want is try to deny the lanes. So the strength of KiCk has always been through the jungle. So they lock something that can really heavily carry and get it rolling early. Get it into that top lane where you got the hard counter pick using your red side last pick. And then everywhere else using that advantage, getting the Kindred in.
Absolutely the case. KiCk right now starting to put some more pressure. They did pick up the second Drake. We're 3 minutes away from the next one. And as it stands, they're heavily invading Singularity's jungle. Singularity, on the other hand, they are now moving towards the top. We're 17 minutes into this game. 20 kills accrued. And look at all that vision. K1ck, you've called it out multiple times. KiCk have just had fantastic vision control this entire game.
Because the tempo's been so quick as well, KiCk are able to run through the jungle using the sweeper, put down control wards, and if at any point Singularity run forward, they either have their vision cleared or there's someone waiting to kill them.
Yeah, definitely the case. And Singularity late to this play. The Rift Herald is used for the double boop. Inner turret, inhibitor turret. Do they get the inhibitor as well? That's the charge. Ibo goes in with the unstoppable force, but the life form disintegration rate from Kroghsen is good. Will not be able to do a whole lot more though, as Lamb's Respite will heal up KiCk all the way once again. A seismic shard tags on one. Death sentence goes short of Graves, but he's locked into place by that chain of corruption. Takes a piercing arrow to the face, and now Vayu gets jumped on by Lamb and by Wolf. A dance of arrows, a song of fire and ice, and Singularity have lost their base at 18 minutes.
Now, I'm going to again go back to my positive outlook version of this. And I'm going to try to explain why Raya pushed top lane that whole time.
I didn't even notice.
Yeah, they had no MF. That's why the big Bard ult and everything, nothing happened. Okay, I think what had happened was you saw that Kindred had marked the MF, and Shlatan's been scaling. He's been getting kills. So the best way to avoid him getting any more stacks is to simply never fight. Yes, you lose the inhib. Yes, it's definitely accelerating this loss. But you know what? One less stack.
Prevent the stacks. Yeah. You got to take the wins where you can, my man. And that, I think, is what Raya was doing. I don't even know if Skrude comes over the wall here, if this will work out. Vayu's waiting just south of the river. And this Puki style Varus, 4, 2, and 3. Just stepping all the way forward. Ibo's unstoppable force is not yet available. And still, no real, attack speed items or Trinity Force to speak of. But KiCk versus Schalke will be our very next game. And there are two scenarios in which KiCk advance to playoffs. Number one, they pick up the win. And we'll get to that in a moment, as now Vayu's running for his life. Nille is going to be in trouble. Gets chunked down, dunked down. And a thunderclap to the face, as well as that ground slam picks up another kill. Bullet time is pretty good here from Raya. Remember, he prevented that stack earlier. That could be all the difference. It's now all of a sudden KiCk are running for their lives. But while that is going on, Matislaw is dealing with the inner turret. Now Ibo, he's stepping forward. He's looking for Raya. Raxxo survives. He saves Puki Style's life. And here comes Shlatan. He gets the kill into Raya eventually. Skrude's going to be the next to fall. It's a double kill for Shlatan. 7, 1, and 4 on that Kindred. And of course, because you got the Fire Rift, it's so much easier to chase down targets. Baron has just spawned, and it feels like KiCk are going to go for that before they finish the game.
Yeah, I think it's just Baron into end now, but Oh dear, it has been so rough for them. I think, again, well played to K1ck, but all this fire actually reminds me, the other day I was setting up, I was trying to set up candles, and, you know, it turns out when you don't have a lighter, lighting candles is difficult, but yeah, this is going to be, is there any point? You know what's going to happen.
Yeah, so tell me about your candles, and this is kind of romantic setting that we're painting a picture here.
Yeah, it was actually. It was my boyfriend's birthday, so I ordered in the dinner. By the way, managed to set fire to things without Paul ordering in was something that impressed a lot of people. But basically, I didn't actually own a lighter or matches, so I decided the smartest thing to do was to take a paper towel and put it in the toaster. And if anyone's had the displeasure of watching paper towel burn, it's very flammable. It burns near immediately. So almost burned my hand off doing that first off. So tossed that in the sink and decided, okay, we'll get something that burns slower, used card, get the candles lit. That goes well. I light up all the candles, then my smoke alarm won't stop going off. Which turns out my neighbors will never respond to my house going on fire because no one comes over to the house at all. This whole, I'd say 5 minutes, the smoke alarm's coming off.
I'd like to very quickly put a disclaimer out there. For anybody listening in the chat, do not take this man's advice. It was an awful plan.
Dear Lord, do not.
Awful idea. Don't ever try it. And it feels like maybe that's what Singularity tried to light a candle at home, but it didn't work out for them.
This is somehow less messy than my house after that.
Yeah, definitely the case. Well, nevertheless, K1ck are now into the base. This has to be the final push. Baron empowered minions. Nille has stolen away the Emperor's Divide, but it's not going to be enough.
Most importantly, a recurve bow on that Malphite.
There we go! Unstoppable force into the face of reje. He is now down, and that magical journey wasn't going anywhere. Singularity will be losing their 5th game here at EU Masters. K1ck will be playing against Schalke Nullfear in just a moment. They need to finish this one out. The Emperor's Divide goes absolutely nowhere. And as the Nexus is focused down, K1ck are one step closer to playoffs. 22 minutes, 49 seconds. I mean, that was a shellacking, if ever I've seen one.
I will say there was no point in the game where I thought that maybe Singularity will win. There were points where I thought maybe K1ck won't win as quickly, but definitely they remained weirdly somehow in control of that rodeo of a game.
Yes, absolutely the case. You and I will get a moment to break it down on the other side of this ad break. For everybody watching at home, stick with us. We'll be right back with K1ck versus Schalke.
Time for a true display of skill.
My axe is ready. Witness true strength.
A gift from me to you. Ooh, ooh.
Another soul lost.
Death by 1,000 cuts.
You've seen our name on the jerseys of amazing teams. Now, we are supporting one more. One that you don't see live on TV. But they are the best team in the world, and they are playing the toughest game. Maybe they're not performing in front of millions, but they are under the pressure of an entire planet. And they don't have fans cheering their names, but they have patients who will forever remember them. And they also need your help to win this game. Stay home like a pro.
And welcome back to EU Masters. Quickshot still joined by K1ck Tiger, and we are 2, potentially 3 games away from wrapping up the day. K1ck just smashed Singularity, and the thing that was great to see is they did it in a way that we wanted them to. Shlatan on a dominant pick, early duos, working together with Ibo, and then just controlling the map, K1ck Tiger.
Yeah, I think this goes further to our point that we've seen throughout EU Masters. The Polish junglers are incredibly strong, but also this is a full Polish roster, so I think that also helps with some of the communication we're seeing from that, and also gives you a big sense of kind of national pride if you're coming in as a Polish fan, that this full 5-man Polish roster could really take it to some of, maybe not the best team in this case, but certainly has shown that throughout the group stages.
Well, this is where K1ck are going to have to find another gear. With the win that they have just secured, they have put themselves in a position where their destiny, to a degree, is in their hands. They are playing up against Schalke 04, who are starting Lurox in the jungle over Gilius. This is a do-or-die game. For K1ck, when I look at the playoff scenarios, if they lose this game, they need Singularity to beat Movistar to force a tiebreaker. The odds of that are very, very low. Alternatively, if K1ck pick up a win here, they guarantee themselves at least a tiebreaker for that playoff spot.
Yeah, but I think when you look, especially as you said, that jungle matchup, we've only seen one game of Lurox, and yes, it was a big jump in Schalke's early game, but every early game has been fairly solid for K1ck. I think that's the one thing they have shown throughout a lot of the group stages, and specifically Shlatan has consistently been a highlight.
Yeah, really, really important. Now for Schalke, if you were to compare their game 1 of the day with Gilius versus game 3 where they played Lurox, I mean, you'd say it's a different team, right? You genuinely would. But as you've just said, K1ck, like, the early game could be hugely influential in who's going to come out on top. Schalke with the game win. They win this game against K1ck. They are in the playoffs, and the Prime League have got themselves that representation.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing whether K1ck can kind of stand up in that regard, because the last time we saw these two play, it was Schalke that managed to edge ahead, but it was an extremely close game where honestly the major finishing factor was the K1ck's comp got outscaled. So in terms of play style, in terms of kind of mechanical strengths, I definitely think this is an extremely even game we're heading into.
It's especially because when you compare both of the teams' previous victories today, they are looking on form. They are looking on fire. These are the last regular group stage games for both respective teams. If they do not play in tiebreakers, you have to play 3 games in a day. So mental fortitude, form, the ability to deliver when the pressure is highest. That's what these guys are under. And now it's Schalke with a little bit more, let's say, breathing room with that 4-1 record. But at the same token, the player Lurox coming in on the day, etc. We'll see whether or not K1ck are ready for it.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it, because I think when you see these kind of big pop-off performances from the likes of Shlatan, it has tended to be against, someone that can really heavily exploit. I think maybe their game 1 today was quite shaky. Gilius didn't have the best early game, but Lurox came out of the gates extremely quickly, and honestly, not even just himself, how quickly they kind of got that communication going with Certus in the mid lane was impressive, and that will very quickly shut down really heavy carry jungle performances.
Got it. Well, listen, we are coming back with that game. Schalke 04 taking on K1ck on the other side of this ad break. Huge implications for playoffs. Don't go anywhere or I'm going to be disappointed.